The night was unusually quiet in the small town of Ravenwood, the kind of silence that presses against your chest and makes your skin crawl. Emily Warren had returned to her family's old Victorian house after 10 years, the place she had fled from as a terrified teenager. Her parents were long gone, victims of an accident that left the house to her. The towering structure, with its peeling paint and darkened windows, seemed alive in a way that was both mesmerizing and terrifying. Emily had always been drawn to the house, even as a child. It had a presence, an aura, that whispered secrets in her ears when she walked the creaking floors. But she had left, promising herself she would never return. Until now. The letter had arrived unexpectedly, and signed, and typed on plain white paper. You cannot run from what lives within. Emily's hands trembled as she read it. Her first instinct was to dismiss it as a prank, but an icy chill ran down her spine. She glanced at the hallway mirror, half expecting to see something lurking behind her. The reflection stared back with only her own frightened eyes. Yet the feeling of being watched was undeniable. Her first night in the house was sleepless. Shadows danced across the walls as the wind howled through the broken window panes. Every creak, every whisper, seemed amplified in the oppressive silence. Emily tried to convince herself it was her imagination, a trick of nostalgia and loneliness. But when she saw the first smear of dark red on the staircase railing, she froze. It looked like blood, old and dried. Her stomach churned. She had always known the house held secrets, but nothing had prepared her for this. The following morning, Emily explored the attic. Dusty trunks and forgotten relics filled the space, a time capsule of her family's past. Among the relics, she found an old diary belonging to her mother. The handwriting was jagged, frantic in places, as if the words themselves carried a warning. The evil is not outside. It is inside. It grows stronger with every fear we hide. Do not let it see you alone. Emily shivered. Her mother had always been eccentric, prone to hysteria, but these words were different. They carried a weight, a truth she couldn't ignore. Over the next few days, strange things began to happen. Objects moved on their own. Whispers echoed in empty rooms, and shadows flitted across her vision. The temperature dropped suddenly, freezing her breath in the air. Doors slammed shut without warning, and sometimes she felt an invisible hand graze her shoulder. Friends she tried to call refused to answer, as if the town itself had fallen under a dark spell. One night, Emily dreamt of her mother. But it wasn't her mother she saw. It was a twisted, shadowed figure with hollow eyes, crawling from the corners of her childhood bedroom. The figure whispered, "You are next." She awoke screaming, sweat soaking her sheets. The dream felt real, too real. Emily decided to confront the house, to face whatever force lingered there. She began researching Ravenwood's history and discovered something horrifying. The house had been built on the site of a series of murders dating back over a century. The original owner, a man named Victor Hale, had dabbled in dark rituals, seeking to harness the fear of others as a source of power. His lineage had continued in secret, leaving behind a trail of tragedy that always circled back to Emily's family. It became clear, the evil wasn't just in the house. It was in her blood. She carried the legacy of Victor Hale's rituals, a latent darkness that had lain dormant until now. The final confrontation came one stormy night. Lightning illuminated the house in brief, terrifying flashes. Emily stood in the grand foyer, clutching the diary and a candle. The shadows around her twisted, forming grotesque shapes, writhing as if alive. The air was thick with a choking malice. A voice boomed through the hall, echoing from every corner. "You cannot hide from me." Emily's heart pounded. She had feared this moment, yet she felt a strange clarity. She was afraid, but not powerless. She opened the diary, reading aloud the protective incantations her mother had scribbled in desperation. The shadows recoiled, shrieking in unholy rage. The evil tried to manifest, to consume her entirely, but Emily stood firm, reciting every word she could find. Hours passed, or perhaps minutes. Time had no meaning in that nightmare. Finally, the shadows screamed one last, deafening cry before dissipating into nothingness. The house was silent, almost serene, as if it were breathing again after a long, violent storm. Emily collapsed onto the floor, exhausted but alive. She had confronted the evil within her family, the darkness she had inherited, and survived. The house, while still old and creaking, seemed lighter somehow, its malevolent presence diminished. She knew the evil was not gone forever. It slept, waiting for fear to feed upon, but Emily had faced it and would not let it take her. She left Ravenwood the next morning, locking the doors behind her, but the house remained in her mind, a chilling reminder that darkness sometimes hides in the most familiar places, even within oneself. As she drove away, the wind carried a faint whisper from the house. "We will meet again." Emily didn't turn back. She didn't need to. She had already faced the evil within, and survived. The days after Emily's first night in the house were no less terrifying. Every morning she woke exhausted, the memory of shadowy whispers haunting her even in daylight. But something new had begun to manifest, visions of the past, flickering in corners, as if the walls themselves were replaying decades of horror. One afternoon, while exploring the library, Emily found a hidden compartment behind an old bookshelf. Inside was a collection of letters, yellowed and brittle with age. They were correspondence between her mother and a mysterious figure signed only as V. The letters spoke of rituals, dark gatherings, and a guardian of fear that had bound itself to the Warren lineage. Emily's fingers trembled as she read aloud one letter. "The evil knows no boundaries. It will awaken the blood, and only the brave may confront it. You must be vigilant, for fear gives it strength." The words chilled her to the bone. She realized her mother hadn't just been eccentric, she had been a sentinel, trying to keep the darkness at bay. Emily wondered if she had inherited not just the house, but the responsibility to fight the very evil that had haunted her family for generations.